I keep it there for about 3 weeks, and this is the end result. So this is changing the standard of care. Now, okay, let's skip this because this is showing you how to do it. Okay, yeah, now we can go to even bigger wounds, and this is a white exterior melanoma, and you see this is a primary closure within 1 hour, and then the patient can start mobilizing very, very early because this is closed very strongly, and this is a year and a half later. All these cases we do the same way, and this is just to show you what we used to do, and this is what we do today. Again, these are very big defects, and this is what you read in the textbook, moving flaps to close it. But we can use the viscoelastic properties of the skin, and within 14 minutes, going from this gap to this, to the approximation of the wound. Now I could stop here and do mechanical creep, but I was, brave at that time, and I could close it all the way in about 26 minutes. And this is the end result. So we do all these defects. You see, this is a schizophrenic patient. Now, if you try to put the skin graft there, the next day you jump out of bed, then you lose everything. But this would close it so strong, it can mobilize immediately, and this is the end result. Now, again, I'll just show you this. I'll show you the technique in just for a few minutes and how it is done, just to give you the idea. And this is a huge tumor. This is a huge recurrent sarcoma of the shoulder area. And for this, you need, it depends where you are. In the US, many answers that I would get would be, okay, you close it with a free flap, but this is the MRI, and it is a huge tumor.
That many surgeons refuse to operate on.
Yeah. See, we apply the top closure. This is by the glue, and then we secure it with staples. Then we put the tension sutures that go all the way deep into the wound, and then to the other side. And this is very fast. See, this is the tension suture. We apply it to the wound. So again, we need to close the wound as early as possible, because if you leave it open, the longer you leave, the longer the wound is open, the higher chances for it to get infected, and then you get to chronic wounds. But we need to close them fast, and this is the method to close it. Now we move to the other side. See, and now we apply this stress relaxation. We pull very hard. If we try to do it just with sutures, it would just create ischemia and necrosis, and it would open next day. See? And it's amazing how elastic is the skin. And actually, and then we do it, both of us, me and my assistant, we pull it hard and stretch the skin, do it again and again. And actually, this is the main part of the surgery, doing the stress relaxation. Okay, I'll just skip it, and this is 2 hours, 14 minutes after closure. Of closure. And now, what about ischemia? This is the second day after surgery. The lighting is not so good, but there is no ischemia whatsoever. And this is 23 days after surgery, and the wound is closed. So we can substitute for free flap, for a huge flap, just by stretching the skin and using the viscoelastic properties of the skin. And this is 55 days, 10 months, 11 months, and look at the range of motion. Again, we can achieve it because this is the best way to close the wound. And all these were clean wounds, so we could close them primarily, immediately. But if the wound is infected, and I showed it yesterday, I will just skip it. This is when the wound is infected, you cannot close it primarily with top closure. You leave a gap for it to drain. And the other thing that we do is we apply the oxygen to the wound, we apply the irrigation to the wound, so this way we can, even this drain, the opening is irrigated and flushed, and you have a constant flow in the wound that is evacuated to the vacuum. And we can achieve this kind of things. And we can use it for mastectomy, we can use it for, let me get back to the infected wounds. And actually the most important thing here is that we can reduce the inflammatory phase, we can increase the granulation tissue, but granulation tissue is a waste of time. We don't need it, it's a long process. And we can skip it by using the top closure, the stretching of the skin, the viscoelastic properties of the skin, and actually skip this phase. Do it in 1 hour, I can close the wound. So we change the standard of care, we change the textbook. And instead of using pre-flex, we can close the wound primarily. Now, this relates to trauma. You see, if you try to close the wound by pulling with sutures, you create ischemia and you will lose the part of the flap. So we apply the top closure. That would gently bring the wound edges together. And you don't need to close the wound immediately. Of course, you will let it close later by, I would just put few staples to seal the wound edges. And this is a crush injury, crush degloving injury. Clean the wound, irrigate the wound, debride the wound, but then we don't close it. We just apply the top closure, close the wound, and then if we need to change the dressing and clean it, we just open, clean the wound, and then close it again. All these dressing would be with raw MPT, oxygen, irrigation, and vacuum. And I tell you, this is the most dramatic change that I've seen during my practice, reducing the infection in the wound. And that's a very important part of what we're doing. And so all these infected hematomas, fasciotomies, we close them primarily now. We don't use skin grafts. You see, we apply the top closure and then close them primarily. This is a vascular case that we have to do 4 fasciotomies. And it doesn't show well here because all these wounds, you see them, they are bright red, no infection in the wound, no gross infection, no spread of infection around it. And we use it all the time together with raw NPT, oxygen, irrigation, and vacuum, and stretching the skin together. Okay, now again, this is a compartment syndrome, and this is all a dead muscle. Now, the main issue about these kind of injuries is actually infection, and these wounds would most probably get infected, and this is why we have to be aggressive. We were taught to be aggressive. I don't need to be aggressive because we have the system that always drains the wound the best way, and this way we can drain the wound, we can stretch the skin, and actually bring the wound edges together and close the wound primarily and have the patient walking on his feet. I will not show you this again. So all these cases, we do it all combined. It's approximating the wound edges, bringing the raw entity to the wound, and this way we can avoid the infective stage or reduce the infective stage in this now. Okay, these are 4 days old babies that no one would like to operate at that time, but I can close the wound in 3 minutes, in 10 minutes, I'm sorry. 10, 15 minutes, just approximating the wound edges. That's it, no undermining, nothing. And we have a series of these babies, 6 days, 10 days old, and just closing the wounds in a very, very simple way.